According to data from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics in 2019, more than 95% of Nigerian workers who live past the age of 60 won't be able to take care of their bills. The reason for this is because they are not covered by any pension scheme. But if we expand this statement further, you would see that the real reason is because they don't have any reliable source of income that can take care of them when they get to that age, the retirement age. So it means that the older they get, the poorer they get. And the poorer they get, the more likely they are to be sick, to age faster, and to be unhappy. Now, there are three major sources of income most people rely on when they retire. Number one is their pension. And from the data I have just shown you, you can see that less than 5% of Nigerian workers are covered by a pension scheme. So 95% of people don't fall into this category. Number two is their personal savings. And this is how much they have managed to put together in savings before retirement. Number three is what I call senior citizens benefits. This includes handouts, gifts, and stipends from relatives who are mostly their children. You see, the major problems with these three sources of income is the fact that none of them is reliable. Let's look at them one after the other. Pension. You see, the way the pension system is designed, it makes you look as if it is reliable. I mean, you are sure that your pension will come in every month, and that's a good thing. But the first problem with this is that it is fixed income. The amount cannot change. So what happens if you encounter an issue that demands more than your pension? That's when you would know how unreliable it is. Secondly, when inflation bites, the amount paid to you as a pensioner, does not increase. So whether pepper is 2,000 naira a bucket or 10,000 naira a bucket, your pension remains the same. The third problem is that it can't help you create wealth. Whatever your pension is, it is meant to take care of your necessities. That is why it is paid monthly. And if you happen to work for the wrong government, where there could be abysmal defaults, then you're not even sure of a monthly pension. You could be owed for years. And lastly, you can't pass it down to your kids. Now that is pension. For personal savings, no matter how big it is, no matter how big your personal savings is, if it is not in an investment account that adds interest to it, then it is not even fixed income because it depletes. So whenever you take some money out from your savings account, what is left reduces. It is not also inflation proof. So if the inflation rate increases, the value of your money reduces, which basically means that you are now poorer. Your personal savings cannot help you create wealth either. Now, the third source of income, senior citizens benefits. You see, with this one, you are relying on the generosity of people. And if they don't give you, you don't get. If something happens to them, that source is dried up. Now, there is a different class of people who depend on an entirely different source of income during retirement. These people might have personal savings, yes. They might have a pension cover, yes. They might even get senior citizens benefits once in a while, yes. But because they know that these sources are not reliable, they created a reliable source of income in addition to these other sources that they have. These people depend on cash flow from their assets. This source of income is dependable, it is reliable, it is not fixed, and it continues to flow. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a 65-year-old man who owns 4 units of 2-bedroom apartments that pay him rent every year. The same man owns 12 shops in a market that pay him rent. The same man owns 10 acres of land where he plants and harvests cassava every year. And he has a management team that handles the business. And then he owns 3 hectares of land cultivated with oil palm, run by a proper team. And this 3 hectares of land produces income for him every year. Then the same man still owns 3 plots of land in a developing area in Lagos. You see, this is what we call an asset-backed cash flow system. In fact, I will call it an inflation-proof, economy-defying, reliable income system. It's a money machine. And this is a reliable retirement income plan. So the question is, why do most people end up without such cash flow systems? I think the first problem is zero awareness of the problem. You see, some people don't even know that there is a problem until it is too late to solve the problem. And the second reason, I think, is the fact that there is not enough knowledge to solve the problem. So some persons know that there is a problem. They know that, they need to set up systems, but they don't know how to solve it. They don't know how to go about it. So what they do is that they either start saving money in the bank, or they start investing their money in things like fixed deposit accounts, or, some of them who just understand a little bit about investment go and start buying land blindly. And the truth is, even if you buy land blindly, there's still a great chance that you will still make good money. But that is still not a cash flow system. The third reason is that they know there's a problem, but they don't know how to create a system. So they have no system in place. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create an actual cash flow system, starting with 1 asset. And the first step is that you really have to start from where you are. Where you are right now determines how you start. So if you earn an income, that means you either run a business and you make money, or you have a salary, right? But you don't think it's enough to take care of your necessities. Then what you need to do is that you need to either replace your source of income so you can earn more, or you need to get an extra source of income so you can earn enough to save and still have money to take care of your necessities. So it's either you're starting a business, or you're getting into sales while you keep your job, or you get a new job. It depends on you. Now, if you have a source of income, but you don't have savings, then you have to start by building your savings muscle. And this is if you have a source of income that can allow you save, but you don't have any savings. You have to start by building your savings muscle. You have to start by keeping something aside from every income you receive, because this is where you will start investing from. So it could be 10%, it could be 25%, but my advice is that you don't go below 10%, at least minimum 10%. Now, if you have a source of income and you have some savings that are enough to start investing, and you are looking to start investing, you are looking to invest so you can create a cash flow system, then you keep watching this video, because it is you I'm talking to right now. And I'm going to show you how to create an asset-backed cash flow system with actual numbers, right? So the next factor we have to consider is your age. You see, your age and your disposable income. Disposable income is how much is available to you for investment. So your age and your disposable income will determine your strategy. So if you are 30, you have more time and you can move at a slower pace, or you can decide to be more aggressive if you want to. Let's say you want to retire at 40 in 10 years, you can decide to be more aggressive. But the guy who is 30 has more time than the guy who is 40. So if you're 40, you have less time than the guy who is 30, but you can still set this up before you are 50. 10 years is enough, and retire if you want at 50. If you are 50, you probably have just 10 years to set this up. So maybe you should be more aggressive if you have enough savings to do that. If you are 60, I really hope you have enough disposable income to set this up fast, because you might want to do what we plan to do in 10 years in lesser time, maybe 5 years. But I'm going to show you, right now, an example of what you can do right, to set up an asset-backed cash flow system. And we are going to, it's going to be like hypothetical, right? So we are going to use 10 years as our time frame. We are going to assume that you earn a monthly income of at least 600,000 naira. I mean, it could be small, but yes, 600,000 naira. We are also going to assume that you have saved up 10 million naira somewhere in the bank. So 10 years, monthly income of 600K, saved up 10 million naira. Now, in this hypothetical example, we are not going to consider inflation, right? So, cost of things went up. We won't consider that. To be fair, we will not also consider any income growth, right? And we're not going to consider any uncertainties. Oh, something happened. Oh, fire caught this. Oh, business went bad. We won't consider that, because those are things that could still happen in business, but we won't consider that. Because the numbers I'm about to show you is just to open your mind to the possibilities of what could happen if you decide to create an asset-backed cash flow system. And the purpose of this video is just for illustration. So this is not expert financial advice. But by the time I'm done with the video, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Lastly, before investing, I'll advise that you do your due diligence, right? So sit back and let's see the numbers together. So now you see, the whole idea of creating an asset-backed cash flow system is not just because you want to make money. It is because you want to have an asset, something of value that you can still exchange for money, even if the cash is not flowing. So let me use the example of having a car for Uber. Let's say somebody gives you a car for Uber and the car is making you money, but it's not your own. The day the money dries up or the day Uber leaves Nigeria, what happens? That source of income has dried up. You don't have anything to exchange for money. But if the car is your own, if Uber leaves Nigeria and you no longer make cash flow from that source, right? What you can now do is you can say, you know what? I want to do something else. Let me sell this car and use it to do something else, right? And use the money to do something else. So I'll show you how to create that now. Now, our target for this example, is to first of all create recurring income. Recurring income is money that comes in every year. And a lot of that recurring income will be passive, and I'll show you how. Second is to own 10 acres of land, right, which we are going to use for agriculture, cassava in this case. The third is to own 3 hectares of land, which we are going to use for oil palm. You will see I will do that. And to own 12 shops in a market. I don't know what market it is. So let's go straight to it. Let us look at year 1. Let us say this is your first year, right? So your first year, remember, you have an active income, which is your salary or how much you make from anything you do. In a month, you earn 600,000 naira, right? But you have a savings of 10 million naira. So this is what I'm talking about, right? Yours could be anything. Your own situation will determine how you start and where you start from. But this person has 10 million naira in savings and earns 600K every year. So the first thing we should do is acquire an asset. Now, we have a product called Palm City. What that product gives you is that it allows you to buy land in our oil palm estates. Now, this oil palm estate, when you buy land, we will do what? Cultivate oil palm on your parcel of land, and then we would manage it, harvest it, process palm oil, and then you earn money every year for the lifetime of the oil palm. So let's say you buy, 1 hectare of land within Palm City. This 1 hectare of land will cost you 7.5 million naira, right? So the 7.5 million naira, you've used it from the 10 million naira to buy 1 hectare of oil palm. Now you now own 1 hectare of land for oil palm. Now you still have how much? 2.5 million naira left. 10% of that amount, you don't invest it. You keep it for emergency. Anything could happen during the year. So you keep that 10%, which is 1 million naira. The remaining 1.5 million naira, you put it into an alternative investment, say something like treasury bills or fixed deposit or something. You just want to put it in something that you can easily liquidate, right? That's 1.5 million naira. The whole idea of that is just to put it in something that you can have access to easily. So you have one investment and one asset. Now, let's look at the income you will get in that first year from this asset. From your asset, you have 0 because oil palm takes 3 years. to mature before you then mature, harvest, process palm oil and then, make money. So in the first year, you get 0. Meanwhile, from your other investment, which in this case, I pegged it at 16%, your other investment should give you 16%. And it depends on the economy. In some cases, it will give you more, maybe 20%, 18%, 22%. In some cases, 12% if the economy is very good, right? 12%, right? So, but in this example, what you invested, 1.5, gave you 16%. So you have a total of 1,740,000 naira as what you made in the first year. Some persons will say, how do I invest 10 million naira and get just 1.74? But just hold on. We'll show you how compounding will happen eventually, right? Now, from this 1.74 million, you keep 10%, right? You could keep it for emergency. You could keep it for whatever you want to do. But the remaining 90%, you save it. I call this savings from investments. Remember, you are building a cash flow system, right? So you have to still make more investments. Now, savings from investments is 90% of 1.74, which is 1,560,000 naira. You still earn an income, right? So from your annual active income, which is 600,000 naira times 12, that's 7.2 million naira, you save 20%. Remember, I said you should not save anything less than 10%. So let's say you save 20%. 20% is 1,440,000 naira, right? Which means that your total disposable income, which is your savings from active income plus your savings from investment income, is 3,006,000 first year. That was all you got out, 3,006,000. You then take this 3,006,000 to the following year, and you are still building your asset-backed cash flow system. But instead of having the entire 3,006,000 as your total disposable income for the following year, you are going to keep 10% of that, right? That 10% of that could take care of you, take care of your family, keep it as emergency, anything you want to do with it, right? But keep 10% of that and take 90% of that income, which in this case is 2,705,400 naira, right? And you take this money, and the first thing you want to do is acquire another asset. Remember, we have a target. So you acquire 1 acre of land, again, for what? For cassava. Our target is 10 acres of land for cassava. So you spend another 1.6 million naira, which is the same thing we spent in the first year. Now, the whole idea is this. We are not considering growth or inflation. So let's not say price increased or anything increased. 1.6 million naira. Remember, this 1.6 million naira, the remaining part of this, you do what? You invest it in alternative investments, say treasury bills or fixed deposit or whatever. And we are still going to keep it at 16%. So you invest 1,105,400 naira in other investments. Your income from your assets this year, right, which is the 1 acre of land that you bought for cultivating cassava, will now be 2.4 million naira. Now you might be thinking, how do I cultivate cassava? Don't worry about that. There are businesses that actually do these things for people, on behalf of people. In fact, we are thinking of acquiring some land, to cultivate cassava, and we just might open it up to individual investors, right, to own land too, and then we cultivate for them for a token. So let's say you make 2.4 million naira, and there's a business managing that. Now you make 2.5 million naira from your cassava. Your other investments now at 16%, you make 1,282,264 naira. Your total income, right? Total income, you add this plus this, right? And then that gives you your total income, but you don't consider your total income as your what? As your savings, right? So 90% of everything you've made here, is what you then keep. Here you make around 3.682, but you keep 90%. 90% is 3,314,038 naira. Your salary did not increase, your income did not increase. I know that in real life this income increases, but to make our example simple, right? We don't increase it. Active income remains 7.2 million naira the whole year, and you save 20% of your active income, which is 1.44 million. You now add this 1.44 to your 3.314, which is the savings from your investment. Now you have a total disposable income of 4,754,038 naira, around 4.7 million. I'll stop calling the fractions. I'll just be saying 3.3, 4.7. So let's say, so in year 2, your total disposable income is 4.7 million naira. Now let us keep 10% of that for whatever purpose, emergency, for you to take care of yourself. I mean, the person who is investing to has to take care of themselves. So you only take 90% and take into the following year. Now this 90% is around 4.2 million naira. You buy 2 acres of land for cassava. That's around, say, 3.2 million naira. But remember, you have 1 acre of land for cassava that you bought last year. And this year, you have to still cultivate the 1 acre of land. What made the money 1.6 million naira last year was because you bought land afresh, and money to buy land is high, right? Now, you spend 200,000 naira to set up the 1 acre of land for cassava. It is this low because your 1 acre of cassava last year will give you new cassava sticks that you used to plant on the 1 acre this year. So your cost basically reduces. So 3.2 million naira for 2 acres plus another 20,000, that's 3.4 million naira. That's what you'll invest. The balance, you put it in other investment, treasury bills, or the rest of them, which are around 878,000 naira. Your income from your assets now, 1 acre of land as at this year, should give you around 2.4 million naira. You know, when you harvest and you sell cassava. But you now own 3 acres of what? Cassava. 3 acres is 2.4 million times 3. Your income from assets is giving you 7.2 million naira. While your other investment, which is treasury bills and the rest, gives you 1,019,215, something like that. You keep 10%. You take out 90% and put it here. The total money you have from your investment now is 7.3 million naira, almost 7.4 million naira. You still earn a salary or still make money from what you do, which is 7.2 million naira. Your savings from active income is still 1.44. Now, your total disposable income will be your savings from investment, which is 7.39, plus 1.44 to give you 8.83 million naira. Now, do you see how your disposable income has jumped from 4.7 million to 8.8 million naira? I'm still going to show you more. You keep 10% of that. You know why? So we'll then take 90% of year 3's disposable income and put it in year 4. That is the money that we're going to invest, which is around 7.9 million naira. You see, this year 4 is a remarkable year. You know why? Because remember, we bought 1 hectare of land for oil palm in year 1, and it takes about 3 years for it to do what? Germinate, mature, produce palm oil, right? So in the 4th year, we expect that we are going to receive our first income from the oil palm. Now, 1 hectare of oil palm, based on our projections, should give around 7 to 18 million naira in a year, depending on the yield per year. So we are going to work with the lowest expectation, 7 million naira, right? And I'll show you that from year 4, your income level will just take a leap. You understand? So you have 7.9 million naira, right? And you buy 4 acres of land for cassava because you still have a target of what? 10 acres of land for cassava. You buy 4 acres of land for cassava. These 4 acres, you spend 6.4 to buy the 4 acres. The remaining 600,000 naira is used to cultivate the 3 acres that you had already, because you would still keep planting. So that means you planted a total of 7 acres of land for cassava in year 4. The other investment will take around 953k, right? Which we are still calculating at 16%. Now, your income from your assets, listen very well. Your income from your assets in year 4 will now be income from 7 acres of cassava, which is 2.4 million naira times 7, which is 16.8 million naira, plus the income from your 1 hectare of oil palm that you set up in the 1st year, which is 7 million naira. So you now have a total of 23.8 million naira that you can invest. You will see how your income would jump. Now, other investments gave you 1.1 million naira, which is, like I've said before, treasury bills and the rest. So you have a total of around 24.9 million naira thereabout. You keep 10% for yourself. Use and arrange yourself. You've been trying. The remaining 90% is 22.4 million naira. That is the savings you have that you are taking to the next year. You are still earning your salary of 600k per month. That is 7.2. Did not increase your salary. I mean, we didn't consider that. I pray that doesn't happen to you. You know, but your savings from active income is still 20%. You are doing it diligently, 1.44 million, right? So your total disposable income is your total savings from active income plus your savings from investment. Total is 23.8555, something like that. So like say 23.8 million naira. Again, you keep 10% of that, you know, so that you look like a human being while you are building your cash flow system. And you take 90% of that into year 5. 90% of that into year 5. So your disposable income for investing in year 5 is around 21.4 million naira. This time around, you are doing more investments, right? More investments. So you are releasing some of the money in your hand. You are buying 3 acres of land for cassava, right? And you are buying 2 hectares of land for oil palm. You see, the good thing about oil palm is the fact that when you make the investment once, unlike cassava where you've made the investment, then, you know, every year you have to keep, you know, reinvesting, even though the amount you are going to reinvest is smaller. You buy 1 hectare of land for oil palm in Palm City, right? The way we've set up the system is such that you don't take any money out of your pocket again, right? But you just keep earning. If you want information on Palm City, you will get it at the end of this video when you click the link and we talk to you. But let's go on. So you buy 3 acres of land for cassava, 6.4 million naira. You buy 2 hectares of land for oil palm, that's around 15 million naira. Then you set up the remaining 7 acres of land you have for cassava, right? The one you bought before, the 7 acres of land you have for cassava, that's around 1.4 million naira thereabout, yeah? Everything you spent on your assets is around 21.2 million naira. The balance is 269,000 naira. You put it in your other investments. This year, your total income from your assets will be 31 million naira. You know why? You first get 7 million naira from your oil palm, which you invested in year 1. Then your 10 acres of land for cassava should give around 2.4 million naira each, times 10, that's 31 million naira. Your other investment gives you 313,000 naira. So that's around 31.3 million naira. Again, you take out 10% for your own good, and then you keep 90%, which is around 28 million naira. Now you see, in year 5, you've achieved a lot of your goals already. You now own 3 hectares of land for oil palm. You now own 10 acres of land for cassava. You understand? You've achieved it in 5 years. And all you had in your savings was 10 million naira and you're earning 600k salary, right? Now, your active income is still 7.2. It doesn't change. Your savings from active income is still 1.44, but you've been keeping it diligently, 20% of your active income per year. Your total disposable income is now your 1.44, which is how much you save every month from your active income, plus the savings from your investment. Everything comes to about 29.6 million naira. That is the money you are going into year 6 with to invest. Or rather, you take out 10%. Yes, 10% goes out. So you're actually going into year 6 with 26 million naira to invest, 26.6. You see, one thing we've been doing is whenever you earn investment income, we just keep out 10%. Whenever you earn something, you just keep out 10%. Because as you are investing, you don't want to look like a scarecrow and let the whole world know that you are building a cash-based, an asset-backed, cash flow system. You also want to be able to do things, take care of yourself, enjoy yourself, take care of your family, while you are building what will take care of you and maybe your family for the rest of your life. Now, you have 26.6 million naira. The assets you buy now has changed. You are no longer buying land for oil palm and cassava. That money is there. You want to start buying your shops. Remember, we have a target to buy 12 shops. Now, you buy 4 shops. You're not going to buy these 4 shops in Lekki Phase 1 or in a very highbrow market. You are starting from, the smaller markets where you can see, cheap. Say 4 million naira per shop. You understand? You buy 4. That is just 16 million naira. The remaining 2 million naira goes into setting up your cassava farm for the following year, right? 200k times 10 acres. So that's 2 million naira. So that's 18 million naira. Your other investments, now you don't have more money to put in your other investments. It gives you 8.6 million naira, right? So your income from assets, you have 7 million naira from your 1 hectare for oil palm. Remember, we did not increase the money from oil palm. We are assuming no inflation, no growth. In real life, right, there will be inflation, there will be, as there's inflation, there will be growth, because when there's inflation, it means that you can still keep selling your cassava or your oil palm for the same price. You too, you will increase your price. So it will be commensurate, right? So 31.6 million naira is your asset, is your income from assets. 7 million naira from your oil palm, 24 million naira from your cassava, 24 million naira here, 7 million naira here, that's 31 million naira. But your shops gave you, like, say, 150,000 naira rent, right? It looks small, but you own those assets and you can exchange those assets for money if you want at any time. So you own 4 shops, 150k times 4, that's 600,000 naira. So you got 31.6 million naira. Your other investment gives you 16%, so you have 10, million naira, which is around 41.6 million naira. But you take out 10% to use and take care of yourself. The remaining 90% is what you save to grow your money. So you have 37.4 million naira saved for investment. Your salary has not changed. You are still keeping 20% of your salary, which is 1.44 million naira. So your total disposable income now, look at it. So your total disposable income now is 38,920,688. That's about 38.9 million naira. The money you want to use to invest. But you take out 10% for emergency or for other things. And you take 90% into the following year, year 7, which in this case is 35 million naira. So you have 35 million naira to invest. You see, if you play Monopoly, you will know that when you play Monopoly, if you want to win the game, you don't start by buying the expensive streets, right? The best strategy is to gather up all the assets on the streets where it is cheap. Now, if you own more there, the next thing you want to do is start buying the utility stations so that people that fall into that place will just keep paying you rent. Plus, it is easier, it is less expensive to build houses on those cheap streets, right? On Monopoly. When you've built that one, you then start moving to the bigger neighborhoods, right? You then start moving to the bigger neighborhoods. I mean, let's not talk much about Monopoly, but that's it, right? So in this year, you have 35 million naira to invest. The first thing you do is your target to buy 12 shops. You finish it in this year. Remember, we are buying those small shops, not the ones that are in, highbrow areas. You buy shops. At how much now? 4 million naira per shop. You buy 8 shops. That's 32 million naira. You have how much left? About 3 million naira. You set up your cassava, 10 acres of cassava, 200k times 10, that's 2 million naira. So you invested 34 million naira in your assets in year 7. The remaining money you put into your other investments, you know what it is, around 1 million plus, right? Now, your income from your assets this year will be 32.8 million naira. How do we get that? You got 24 million naira from your 10 acres of cassava, which is 2.4 million naira times 10. You got 7 million naira from your 1 hectare of oil palm that you invested in the first year, 7 years ago. You got 150,000 naira times 12, right? From all your shops. That is 32.8 million naira. Your other investment gives you 16%, you get 1.19 million. So your total, the total money that you make that year is around 33.9 million naira thereabouts. You keep 10% for yourself and save 90% for your investment in the following year. That's 30.5 million naira. Your active income does not change, we assume, right? So 7.2, and you still keep 1.4 million naira from your active income. So your total disposable income for that year becomes 32,033,000 thereabouts. You keep 10% again and move 90% into the 8th year, year 8. If you were 30 years when you started, by now you should be around 38. And you see, a lot of things could have happened during this time. You could have been introduced to one business and boom, your income blows. Instead of doing this, you just go and buy 100 acres of land for cassava and, you pass that. You could get one business idea and you put it out and it blows, right? And you make money. Anything could happen. Anything could happen, right? But what I'm saying is the principle remains the same, right? If you had 100 acres, say you walked into money, you had 100 acres. The next year, you probably want to buy 1,000 acres and blow everywhere up, right? So it's the principles that I want you to listen to. So now, 90% is 28.8 million naira. This year, you relax. You don't buy any assets. After all, we've hit our targets, right? You don't buy any assets. You just put 2 million naira into cultivating your cassava. If you like, you go and buy more land and say, now, I want to cultivate 20 acres of cassava. I want to cultivate 10 acres of cassava more. It is up to you. But at this point, I assume that you don't buy any assets. You just keep 2 million naira to cultivate the cassava. So you have 26 million naira that you can put into other investments like treasury bills. Your income from your assets. Look at it. And this is the beauty of having assets-backed cash flow systems. The beauty of building an asset-backed money machine is the fact that at some point, even when you don't invest, you still make crazy money. You see this year that you did not buy any assets and you only put 2 million naira here, your income is still around 32.8 million naira. Why? Because you're getting 24 million naira from your cassava, you're getting 7 million naira from your oil palm that has started paying you every year from the 4th year, you're getting 1.8 million naira from your shops. And these monies don't come at once. You will just stay and money just come in. Shop rents come, oil palm come, cassava come, like that, right? Now, 32.8 million naira. Your other investments, which because you put 26 million naira for 16%, you're getting 31.1 million naira. Which means that your savings from investments, which means that you're making like say 63 million naira, 63.9 million naira. After you keep 10%, your savings is around 57 million naira. 57 million naira. Your salary has not changed still. You still keep 1.4 million naira at the end of the year. You add it to your 57 million naira, you have 58 million naira disposable income, which you are taking into the next year to invest. The next year, if you were 40 when you started, now you are 49. If you were 30 when you started, now you are 39. Let's say you don't do any big business or anything, right? It's just, you are just being diligent with this. You have 53 million naira, which is 90% of what you made last year, to invest. This year again, let's assume again that you didn't buy any assets. You only spent 2 million naira to set up your 10 acres of cassava. You didn't even set up new cassava farms, right? After taking out 2 million naira, you take the remaining 51 million naira and put into something like treasury bills. That gives you 16%. But this year is another fantastic year. And that's why I love, asset-backed cash flow systems. Last year, you made 32.8 million naira from your assets. This year, you are making 46.8 million naira. Why? Remember, in the 4th year or in the 5th year or so, you bought another 2 hectares of oil palm in the 5th year. And our goal at Palm City is to cultivate, 1 million palm trees in 7 years. The whole idea is build wealth for ourselves, build wealth for people. So this year, we still assume 2.4 million naira from cassava, even though in reality, it would have changed. Times 10 acres is 24 million naira that you get. Your first 1 hectare of oil palm gives you 7 million naira. The 2 hectares of oil palm that you bought in the 5th year, it's time to start earning. Let's say the amount doesn't change, 7 million naira still. Times 2 gives you 14 million naira. Your shops, 12 shops, let's say the rent does not increase, you get 1.8 million naira. Everything is around 46.8 million naira in your 9th year. You put 51 million naira in something like treasury bills, it gave you 59, right? So it means that you made about 8 million naira from treasury bills. You keep 10%, your savings from investments, which is 90%, is now at 95.4 million naira. 95.4 million naira. We still assume that your salary remains the same. So it's still about 1.44. I mean, we know. I'm just repeating this for people who will not watch the beginning and then come to this part. We know that there's no way your salary will remain the same. If not, you would have run away in 9 years. Right now, your total disposable income is now this 1.4 plus 95. It's around 96.8 million naira. I want you to remember that this 96.8 million naira is not money that you actively work for. This is the only money that you actively work for. And this is what you keep out of it. Right? This 96.8 million naira is money from your investment. Your shop, there's a manager for the shop or a management company for the shop. You don't go and bother anybody to collect rent. You collect rent. The oil palm, you buy it at Palm City. So there's a system, running it. You don't have to worry. They cultivate it, they harvest it, they process the palm oil, you earn. The cassava, you probably set up a management team or a business, we decided to set up our cassava fields and you decided to buy, your 1 acre, 2 acres, like that, up to 10 acres inside our cassava fields, and you are earning hands-free, right? But you have 96.8 million naira in money that is coming. You keep 10%, you take 90% into the 10th year. We are just doing 10 years. This 10th year, your disposable income is 87 million naira. 87 million naira. Let's assume that you didn't buy any assets, but you spent 2 million naira to set up your cassava in that year. You're no longer investing anything in your oil palm. Your other investment is 85 million naira that you're going to put into treasury bills. Now, you see, at the beginning, you had assets that you wanted to buy, and you had less money, every time you invested. Now, as you're not buying assets, you have more money than you need. So you are carrying the whole 85 million naira and putting into other investments, which is treasury bills in this case. Your income from your assets is 46.8 million naira, which is similar to what you had the previous year, which is still 24 million naira from your 10 acres of cassava. You have 3 hectares of oil palm, so you have 21 million naira, and you have 1.8 million naira from your shops, which in this case is what? 46.8 million naira. Other investment, you put 85 million naira there, you get 16%. So you have 98 million naira. The bigger the money you invest, the bigger the returns. You keep 10%. The total is around 145 million naira thereabout that you have now from investments and assets. You keep 10%, which is around 14 million naira, and you have 90% for investment. So you have 131 million naira for investments. You are still at that job where they don't want to increase your salary. So you see earn 7.2 million naira in a year and keep 1.44, from this money. When you add the 1.44 to 131, you now have 132 million naira. in disposable income. Now, if you decide not to buy any assets again, which I would advise, and you just keep, doing it like this every year, your money will just keep increasing. So imagine if you were 40 years, if you were 50 years, if you were 60 years, and this is what you are receiving every year. Some people would even decide that when this money is coming, instead of putting it in other investments, they go and buy dollars with some of them. I'm not saying that. By the time you cash it out the following year, you know what it is. So what this has just shown us is how powerful it is to use laser focus to build an asset-backed cash flow system. Compare this to pensions, compare this to saving in the bank, compare this to waiting for people to give you handouts, or compare this to just buying land anyhow. Even if you buy land, you will still make money, but compare this to that, right? You still have, here you have 10 acres of land, you have 3 acres of land, that's over how many plots of land? 60 plots 45, that's over 100 plots of land that you have. You've never decided to sell those ones. You are still making this money. If something happens to you today, you still have assets that you can pass to your kids. This is what we call sustainable wealth. You could start from anywhere. Your income could be 250K and you might have 5 million naira savings. You could start from there. You might have 3 million naira savings. You could start from there. All you need to do is sit down and devise a plan. Now, when you work harder, God blesses you, and you make more money, you can keep revising your plan to get there faster. You understand? You can keep revising your plan to get there faster. But this is the principle. You might hit some money tomorrow or next year, and instead of buying shops in the markets in one local area, you decide to go buy shops in an actual mall where you earn more in rent because you made that money, but the principle remains the same. You invest in assets, the assets give you income. You don't invest in dead assets. You don't go and buy a house and live in it because you just want to do that. With this money, can't you buy your house? And that's what you should be thinking. Asset-backed cash flow systems. That is what you should be creating, right? So now, I said before that we just set up a project called Palm City, right? Where you can own lands and then we cultivate oil palms and manage it for you. But right now, if all these numbers I've done, they are in an Excel sheet, and I can give them to you for free. All you do is you click on the link. There's a link below in the description section, and then you download the sheets. Of course, you give us your name, your email address, download the sheets. You can see the calculations I did and go study it. You can put your own numbers where you want to put your numbers at the beginning, right? And plan your own, asset-backed cash flow system. If you want to talk to me, so we'll look at it together and we create an asset-backed cash flow system for you, starting with where you are right now, starting with what you have right now. I will also put a Calendly link. So after you give me your name and your email address, you download the sheets, you will see a page where you can book an appointment with me on Calendly, and we look at it and we create something for you, and then we work it. We work it. We say we execute it, right? And if you want information on Palm City, what I'll do is once you download the sheet, we'll send you an email, right, with a video, to Palm City. And on this video, we'll link it somewhere so you can also watch the information on Palm City. But no matter what you do, whether you invest in Palm City or you don't invest in Palm City, whether you talk to me or you don't talk to me, whether you book a call with me or you don't book a call with me, whatever you do, I don't care at this point. Just make sure that you build an asset-backed cash flow system. You build a better retirement income plan for yourself. Because what is better than building a retirement plan that is workable, something that you can rely on, that is reliable? And that's my gift to you today. I'll see you on our next video. Click the link below if you want to have access to the sheets and talk to me. Bye.